I'm starting off my day here in Garut, which is a West Java town. I just slept at that place overnight, a little budget hotel in the centre of town. And today my mission is to try and find a really old traditional village, which I know is out there, where the people have sort of shunned all the modernity of modern life, like electricity and that sort of stuff. So that's my main target for today. And I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to end up. I've got a couple of options in terms of the towns that I might want to end up in. One near the beach, one not so far, but it depends how I go for timing today, whether it rains too much and I get stuck in traffic or anything like that. So let's get stuck in. Hello. So this is the old traditional style of getting stuff fixed. So if you've got a tailor, you need a tailor, these guys will fix it here with all these. Like that's an old style one with the foot pedal. I think he's got a little bit of a metal, like an electric motor attached to it now, but the old style is obviously using that foot pedal down the bottom, which you still got, and then that's obviously a more mechanical one there. Still here today, tukang jahit, usually that's what we'd call. Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Jalan-jalan.
Selamat jalan, Mister.
Yeah, makasih ya. Yeah, just nice to walk around the streets and say hello to people and see what's going on. Hello, bro. A little fist bump. Garut is one of those places where historically there have been quite a few tourists coming through on their way through Java. So one of the classic routes is that if you've stopped in Bandung previously, that you'll come through Garut on your way down to the beach areas. And because there are a few things to do around this area, especially if you like mountains and geologically like active things like steam baths and that sort of stuff, this sort of area is pretty good for that. So they will have seen a lot of foreigners around here in the past, for sure. Traveling like this through many parts of Java is quite challenging for the average foreign tourist. Challenging for me as well, mentally and not really physically, but we're staying in cheaper places, you're getting on cheap transport, nothing's really comfortable, you're eating food that you're not familiar with, and it might not always be to what your standards and that sort of stuff. And that can be a little bit draining sometimes, I think. So and I always say that to people if they want to go backpacking through a place like Indonesia. It's highly, highly rewarding, but you do have to really persist with it, and it is quite a battle sometimes. I just got a lung full of evaporated chili. Someone's cooking up chilies there and it's just wafted into my lungs. But being a less developed country than somewhere like Thailand, that does make it just that little bit harder to get around. I mean, it's just a bit more of a challenge. The other thing that makes Indonesia a little bit more challenging than many countries in Southeast Asia is that there aren't that many tourists outside of Bali. In most areas, there are very, very few tourists, and that means there isn't much tourist infrastructure. And what that means is getting from A to B, you're doing it very local style. Hi, no thanks. He's trying to give me a little brochure. And that means, for example, there's not many tourist shuttles. There are in key places, like in Yogyakarta, you might find a few, but like in Garut, there's not going to be any. So you've got to find your way to the bus station, and then you've got to try and, like I'm going down alleyways here to get to my breakfast place. I'm going to go to a coffee shop, actually. That's one thing in Indonesia that's improved a lot, is that in cities now there's always good coffee shops. The other thing that I've been thinking as well while I've been on this trip is that the older you get, the more you just want to be in your own bed. But it's true, if you do push through in these things, you usually do have some great experiences like I've had so far on this trip. And I know there's going to be some great experiences to come. Just come to this place, it's called Historia. You'll probably never come here, but I'll show you what it's like anyway. Basically, they're doing proper coffees for 15,000, which I reckon is a pretty good deal. I just got a little croissant as well. And then I'll be on my way looking for a bus. Pak, namanya siapa?
I'm Kiki.
Kiki is one of the best Grab drivers here in all of Garut.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bahasa Inggrisnya gimana ya, Pak? Sedikit. Little. Yeah, little. There we go. That's good enough, isn't it? We're on our way to Terminal Garut, which is the bus terminal in Garut, the main one. You get buses from there to everywhere, really, around this area. Usually in Java, if you roll up at a bus terminal, you'll find that buses go to some of the strangest places. So you can always get to where you want to go. And if there's no bus, there'll definitely be a guy like Kiki. He'll be able to take you there on the back of a motorbike. Love it. So we're trying to get a bus, I think today, to Tasikmalaya. That's the general thing. So the Ojek driver, Kiki, told me to get a big bus rather than one of those smaller ones because he reckons it's cheaper and you're less likely to get ripped off. That's what his advice was. So I'm going to look for a big bus now. So one of the workers here at the bus station was very helpful. They said, look, yeah, it's best not to go on those smaller buses because the prices are always inflated, even for locals, and it's just not as good as these bigger buses, which I've never actually caught a big bus down this road before. I have been down this road on smaller buses before, and yeah, there was always problems with prices. They said that you don't even have to wait long for these buses, 15, 20 minutes, it should be fine, and it should only cost 20,000 rupiah. We'll see. I'm catching a bus to a place called Singaparna, but I'm going to get off halfway at a place called Kampung Naga, which is that village I was talking about, which has shunned a lot of modernity. I wouldn't mind having a bit of a look around there today. They've actually got traditional music playing over the microphone at the moment, and it's called Sabi Lulungan. And Sabi Lulungan is music which, when I first went to Bali, they were playing on in a lot of those CD shops. You've got to get this music. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic Balinese music. But it was only some years later that I realised that what I thought was Balinese music actually is music of West Java, which is what they're playing over the thing now. Okay, my bus has arrived. Everyone else is getting off. They've come from Jakarta. It's a bit chaotic. We'll get on here.
Kampung Naga.
Yeah. Kampung Naga.
Yeah, kumana?
Get through here. This one's a packed bus. It's got 2, 3. Look at this. So we're on. Apparently it's supposed to cost 20, 25,000, 15,000, about that. So if it's any more than that, I need to negotiate. So this bus is a classic example of what akap culture is. Akap means antar kota, antar provinsi, and it's the buses that go between provinces, between cities. And there's a whole culture involved in that, where normally you'll have a bunch of guys down the front having a good old chat and a laugh, whether it's the driver and the conductor or a bunch of friends or just randoms that will join in down the front. And then down the back there'll be a bunch of guys smoking, and then maybe the driver's on the phone while he's weaving in and out of traffic, and the AC's blasting and it's freezing cold, and then the next minute someone opens the window up and it's hot and steamy. It's just the whole akap thing, which is really it's like a specialty of Indonesia, and especially in Java, because the buses do go from everywhere to everywhere. If you travel through Java just a little bit, you will be experiencing some of this akap culture, and it's just fantastic. The first time you do it, it might be a little bit sort of overwhelming and a little bit confronting. Once you get the hang of it, you know what the story is. It's actually fine, guy on the wrong side of the road, weaving in and out fast while he's on the phone and not really looking where he's going. It can be scary at the start, and sometimes there's crashes, but after a while you get used to it and you just learn to forget about some of that stuff. The smoking that's going on and things. If you don't like to smoke, that can be a little bit daunting as well, but again, one of those things you get used to over the years and you become happy with it. There's the scenery out the windows is always interesting for me. There's always people going around, going about their business. There's rice fields, there's mountains. You go up and down hills. Like we're about 1,000 metres above sea level now, and we've come up from Garut, which is 750, so we've been going up quite a bit, and now we're coming down, and there's like these steep terraced gardens and rice fields everywhere. So this is about a 30-kilometre journey for me from that terminal to Kampung Naga. So 20,000 for that seems pretty good to me. Next to nothing. Along the way, you've got phone signal all the way. Like it's so well connected, even though you're quite remote. There is phone signal everywhere. Because sort of what happened in Indonesia, instead of people getting landlines when telephones became big, no one got landlines. Almost no one got landlines, especially in regional areas like this. They skipped that and they went straight to mobile phones, and they became dominant. Everyone had mobile phones. Even now, most people are going to have a fairly decent mobile smartphone that has internet access, and because the way the internet operators work here is that they might give you a few gigabytes of free YouTube or free TikTok or whatever per week or per month, and so people are really massive on social media as well, even in these remote areas or more rural areas. It's quite fascinating to see how that sort of happened so differently to the way it happened in the West. Kasih Pak. Yeah. Nuhun Pak. Okay, Kampung Naga. Beautiful, here we are. I'm the only one that got off that bus and we're in. Oh, pretty exciting to be on the road like this, to be honest. It's actually a really good feeling to be just flitting around, you know. It's an odd feeling sometimes. You get a little bit uncomfortable when you're just zipping around like this with no sort of fixed destination, or you're not 100% sure where you're going, or you're not sure how to get there. But once you're in a place like this, it's like, I don't know, the stress sort of comes off and you know, you're here, you've got your activities to do for the day. And it's going to be interesting, I'm sure of it. Bapak, nama siapa Bapak?
My name is Arya.
Arya.
Sarya.
Sarya.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in the village.
Okay. My name's Adam, Sarya.
Yeah.
Sarya is going to come with me today. So the story is that to go into the village, you need to have a local take you there so you don't commit any faux pas. And the reason is because this particular village is a village that's sort of like trapped in time. A village which has sort of rejected a lot of modernity. Yeah. And hopefully we learn a few things today about why they've done that, some of their philosophies, some of the history of the village. Look at this nice path down into the valley below. So from here we can see the actual village down there. They're the ones with those, itu bahannya apa Pak yang di gentengnya?
Itu ijuk.
Ijuk.
Ijuk atau
So
palm, dari palm tree.
Yeah. So palm tree roofs there, the black roofs, that's a classic defining feature of the houses in Kampung Naga. There is electricity right here, but there is a boundary where electricity is not allowed to go into, and we're not far from that now. And you can see just how beautiful it is down in this valley over here in Kampung Naga. But can you, why does Kampung Naga not have electricity?
Because if there is electricity here,
Yes.
so Kampung Naga is very dangerous for burning.
Ah.
If there is korsleting,
Yes.
listrik is very
Oh, so takut kebakaran.
kebakaran.
Ah,
Yeah.
so scared of the fire. Jadi ada apa? Semua orang sama ya, statusnya sama.
Sama, ya, sama.
Itu penting ya.
Ya,
Kalau di sini statusnya harus rata.
Harus rata gitu.
Yeah.
Tidak kelihatan mana yang kaya, mana yang miskin.
Yeah, there you go. So the story is they don't want to show people. Like people don't want to have this envy thing going on where one person's got high status, the other one's got low status, and then there's all these nasty competitive things going on. So it's one of the reasons they've shunned modernities, because when we get really modern, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, and it's very destructive for the village. The electricity thing, I'm not sure how that fits into things. But yeah, look at that. So we're coming down the river here. Jadi,
Listrik cuma sampai sini. Ke sana ya.
yeah, so the electricity stops here. So the other thing about this village is that the room is full. Like there's not enough land now to build any more houses. So when people have children, there's a choice. Do the children go outside the village, or do the children stay and the parents move out? Because you get too many people in here, it gets overcrowded. So a lot of younger people, of course, they want their hand phone, they want all the modernities. So usually, you know, the younger people, when they're married, they'll marry and then move out of the village rather than stay here. But if they did choose to stay here and have a family and, you know, the numbers started to grow, maybe the parents would have to move out of the village because there's just not enough room for everyone to be here. It is quite beautiful. Look at this. So we're getting closer now, and you can see those black roofs there, and you can see the, well, I think there's bamboo siding on a lot of those places as well. So the toilets are here over these little ponds. These are like your sewage ponds. You've got fish in there as well. That'll clean things up. And the reason they've got it like this is that you are not allowed in your house to have a toilet or inside the actual village area. It's one of those old sanitary things that they've come up with many years ago, and it sort of stayed around until today. This little device here, and they're still using it today, all the rice in this village is processed manually. So they'll put the harvested rice in there with the skin on it and all that sort of stuff, and just pound it so it starts to break off the, they'll use this big stick here. Yeah, you get this big stick out like this, yeah, and they bang, bang, bang. And what it does, it takes the husk off the rice. So before it gets processed, it's called gaba, and then it gets then they'll put it in one of these things, and then they'll lift it up, and in the wind it'll blow more of the skin and the husk away, and you're left with a product which is called beras, but it's different to the beras that you'll normally find in a market, because what it leaves on is some of that outer, I'm not sure what even the English word is, but some of the outer skin on it, which is full of nutrients. When you have polished white rice, it takes a lot of those nutrients away, and you do get some, well, historically, in a lot of places in Asia, when they move to polished white rice, you get a lot of people getting sick because they don't have the right nutrients. And this stuff is really still rich in nutrients because it's got that little outer layer on it, which is so nutritional and gives you a lot of vitamins, not just the inside part of the rice, the white part. If you know what that disease was, let me know in the comments, because I have read about it in the past, and I have known about those diseases that came around, and the reasons why white rice is white these days and doesn't have the husk and the germ on there. But I've just lost it at the moment, and I'm sure there'll be people out there a lot more smarter than me that will know exactly why that is the case. So this is the local water drinking source. That water is very clean, and he said that for locals they don't really need to boil it because it's clean enough that you don't need to boil. But if you want to be extra careful, some people might boil it, or if you're a little bit, immune system's down a little bit or whatever, you might give it a bit of a whiz and boil it up. We're in between all the houses now. You'll notice that some of them, or most of them, seem to have glass windows. You've got that beautiful palm tree. It's like the palm sugar you can get from these trees as well. So it's like, I don't know how they do that, but the fibers or the things from the leaves, maybe the leaves themselves, they make into that. Nggak ada bocor juga?
Enggak bocor.
Oh, no leaks.
35 tahun.
Oh.
Maksimalnya 35 tahun.
So it lasts 30 years as well, which is a long time. And the depth is up to about 20 centimetres. There you go, all the chickens underneath there, that's where they happen. Actually, that's what it was like when I was staying with Pat Yardi a couple of nights ago. If you saw that video, the chickens are all under the house, and they'll wake up in the middle of the night, make a bit of a ruckus. That's just normal here in the kampung. Oh, yang ini bagus juga. Oh, look at that. Lucu. Banyak kucing di sini ya, Pak? Oh, so the story is they've got lots of cats because when you've got rice fields, you've definitely got lots of rats who like to rummage through the rice fields and rampage through the rice fields. So you've got to have cats to keep those rat populations under control, which makes sense, doesn't it? I was just walking around here. This is not a tourist village. This is a real legit village. Yeah, it's not like sometimes you have those like model villages or display villages, and it's sort of like a mock village type thing. This is not that. This is like the real deal. Like, this is how it works here. Even with all the modernities that are going on around us, we still have this quite traditional way of living, purposely keeping it traditional. Look at those walls, beautiful walls, bamboo with, I don't know what they use here, but ini apa yang dipakai apa untuk?
Kapur.
That's just like rendering. Put a bit of render on there. Like a bit of plaster. Now, because there's no electricity or gas in this place, you're going to have to harvest a lot of that wood, and everyone's got a big stock of wood. You can see it everywhere. Big piles of wood that they're going to be using to either boil water or cook or do whatever they need to do when they make a fire. Even if it maybe gets a little bit cold, they might start a fire and just sit around it while they're cooking. Now, it's not 100% the case that you have to take your shoes off in an Indonesian house, but if you're going to go in someone's house, assume that you need to take your shoes off, like I've just done there, because that is almost universal. Not 100%, but maybe 99% or 95%. Here's the house. So they've got this nice bamboo flooring. That's exactly like what Pat Yandi had in his house, but he had a bit of a carpet on top of it just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And then that's the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where you can cook your rice in here.
Nah, ayah basket.
Yeah.
Rice put here.
Yeah.
And then
there you go.
it's for steaming.
Steamy rice. Probably tastes a lot nicer too than a rice cooker.
And ini bambu kayu ya, wood.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what he was saying is that everyone, when they eat on these floors, and what they'll do, they'll sweep all the scraps of food that have dropped off their plate, and they'll sweep it in these little gaps down here. This drops onto the tana or the ground below, and then the chickens will eat up all the scraps. That's just the way it is here, yeah?
Nah, ini banyak kayu ya.
Yeah. Lots of wood up there. So that one's lantera. Pakai minyak atau? Minyak tanah. Yang ini pakai apa?
Sama minyak tanah. Nah, minyak tanah nih.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they do have, I think it's kerosene. That's what I think minyak tanah. Yeah, look at that old lamp that they're using there. Nice floors here though. These are made out of mahogany or something like that, he said. Bagus banget ya, Pak.
Iya, nah ini ruang tamu, soalnya kesini banyak yang nginep ya.
Oh, nginep.
Iya.
Oh, jadi kalau orang kesini, orang luar kesini dan mau menginap boleh juga.
Boleh juga.
The story is, if you want to stay here yourself, that they haven't really accepted foreign guests just roll up and stay here. And they're sort of like a little bit reluctant to, because if you just roll up, and they might not be able to feed you because they might not have enough time to go and get food, cook it and all that sort of stuff. But if you really wanted to, like if you rolled up here at like midday and you thought, oh, I wonder if I could stay there, and you rolled up and just asked, they might be able to help you out, they might not. And if they can't, we just keep going to a different village and stay there. But yeah, so it might be possible to stay here, but it might not be. But ini radio. Tapi kalau tidak punya listrik gimana?
Pakai baterai.
Oh,
Baterai, ya.
they use battery. So that's how you get around your electricity. Kalau ada baterai besar sekali, mungkin bisa pakai untuk
aki mungkin.
untuk lampu juga.
Bisa mungkin.
Oh, there you go. So the electricity thing, you can get electricity if you have a big battery. Charging di mana? Kalau
Di atas.
so you have to go up there, charge your battery, bring it back down. Berat ya Pak?
Yeah.
So people just don't even bother most of the time. It
Bahkan
sounds like.
di sini kan di kampung ini ya.
Yeah.
Cuman ada satu televisi.
Oh,
Televisi
wow.
juga hitam putih.
Wow.
Jadi pakai aki.
Wow.
TV kecil 14 inci.
Ah.
Buat nonton football.
Oh, football, bola. Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, isn't it? That's pretty cool. So this is actually what they call a desa adat or kampung adat. And you'll know that in Bali we have those as well. Adat is the word for almost like customary or traditional. Traditional is not the right word, but it's, you know, that it's customary, you know. If we have customary law or customary villages, that's what we're talking about here. So there's a real deep way of doing things here that's different to the outside world, and there's rules around it as well. Interestingly, over the other side of the river, over there, you can see a bit of a forest, and that's like a forbidden forest, and no one is allowed in there, no one at all. And not even the leader of the village is allowed in there. And they're not sure exactly why, but it's something along the lines of they want to protect that village because they know that if you start disturbing it, it can have negative impacts on your village. And maybe one day in the past, they maybe had a flood because they'd chopped it down or something like that. And he was saying that at the moment in somewhere like Aceh, there's lots of floods going on because they've chopped down the forests. And you know, you can see in Bali sometimes when you build a concrete jungle on a place that used to be pristine, you do get lots of runoff, and that forest there is capturing a lot of that water and holding it so you don't get as bad environmental effects. The other thing that happened in 1956 is this village was burnt to the ground, not by a accident, but a group came in here and burnt it to the ground. I won't name the exact group because I don't know if I might offend people or accuse people of doing something they didn't do or whatever. I don't want to get into the politics of it. But basically, there was a group that wanted to create an Islamic state here in Indonesia and were fighting against the Republic of Indonesia. There was sort of like an insurgency going on. And what they did, one of the villages nearby that was part of that movement went around to villages around the area that were supporting the Indonesian government, who were newly independent from the Dutch colonial rule. And they came in and burnt the village down, and one baby died in that. After that, the villagers left and weren't harmed, but the village was burnt down. And the guy was telling me that what happened was that people didn't have hard feelings about it. They have suspicion now about that particular organisation because they know what happened in the past, and that there are people within that organisation still around this area. But they don't sort of hold a grudge because that's part of their belief system, which is if you hold a grudge, it's bad. And I mean, that's sort of what we're taught in the West as well, isn't it? If you hold a grudge too long, it can really start eating away at you. Interestingly, the guy was saying that during the dry season here, there are lots of guests coming here from outside world, like, you know, Europe, and they come on tours. So big tours sweep through here, through West Java, and the people are usually from Europe. They're usually from, you know, the Dutch or Belgian or French. That's the majority. In the wet season like now, it's not as popular. Okay, I can see a little kelapa muda here, which is a young coconut. They look fresh. I might get one of those. Satu ya, Bu?
Ya, boleh.
Actually, you need a drink, so it's nice to have something a little bit sort of traditional. Coconut costs 10,000. That's the forbidden forest over there as well, so you don't get people going across there. This is a place, like if you were going to come on a trip through West Java, and let's say you've got a car and a driver, so sort of take you on a tour around the place. And you know, this is one of the key places that you definitely would come. You'll be stopping at lots of different places. This is one of the highlights in West Java because it sort of gives you a glimpse back into the old days of how people used to live. Punten Pak. Yeah. One of the things in this part of the world, the Sundanese part of the world, West Java, it's a little bit the same in Javanese culture as well, but the words are different. So here, if you're passing someone and you want, or an older person, and you want to acknowledge them and you want to show respect, dip your head a little bit, maybe put your arm down a little bit, you know, like that. You might even sort of stick your thumb out like that, like that, and you just say punten. You'll especially do it if there are two groups of people on a path, on either side of the path, and you've got to walk between them, and it's a bit rude to sort of break up their conversation, but you need to get past. You sort of duck down a little bit, hand almost, knuckles almost dragging along the ground, and say punten, it's fine, and then they will shout out, oh, don't worry about it. They'll actually just say, manga, manga, go ahead, go ahead. It's just a respect thing. It's different to in the West. It's just a manners thing, really, isn't it? In the West now, we don't really have manners as much anymore. It's sort of, a lot of people sort of think that they're better if they are rude a lot of the times now. Being rude is the thing that people want to do. But here, still, being respectful is just so important. I think it's important in the West as well. We just don't do it so much anymore. An absolutely wonderful place, and you have to come here if you're ever in West Java. I've actually got to find a transport now. So I've been told I need to go to Tasikmalaya first. And if I want to keep going south towards the ocean, I'll need to change bus there at a particular place called Ranca Bangor. So I'm going to find an elephant. So an elephant is like a big one of these. That's an uncut. I want a big one. And apparently they'll be able to take me to Ranca Bangor for about 20,000. So I'm going to wait and find one. Hello. I think I see an elephant here. There we go. Get on this thing. Makasih Pak. Ya. Ya, nuhun, nuhun. Ya. Oh ya. Ya. Ranca Bangor ya, Pak. All right, we're on board with I know this dude's got a knife with him, so he must be some sort of farmer. But this is what they call an elef. Elef is like just a nickname for a brand of truck, because they have different ones. Like they have El Tigaratos, which is a Mitsubishi, which is a similar type of vehicle. It's just like a bigger version of an Angkor, but not quite a bus. And the price is not a fixed price. It's sort of, it's not made up as you go. Like locals will know how much it normally costs, but it's sort of like a little bit flexible. So if you're a foreigner, you might get charged a little bit more than a local would. This is supposed to cost 20,000. I don't know how much it is going to cost, but we'll see. And they will stop for long periods of time. If they don't have passengers, they'll just sit on the side of the road waiting for passengers. But luckily we've got a few at the moment, so they don't feel like, maybe doesn't feel like he needs to fill up, but we'll see. I don't know, I think it's probably another hour from here to get to that place, that Ranca Bangor, which is where apparently you can get a bus down to Pangandaran, which is the ocean. If you ever find yourself on one of these sorts of vehicles throughout Java or other parts of Indonesia, my strong advice is not to sit too close to the front, because you find yourself being a bit of a backseat driver, and your foot comes out to hit the brake every now and then, and you feel like grabbing the steering wheel, because some of the driving antics are a little bit different to what you're probably used to. So I'm sitting down the back at the moment and trying to look out that front windscreen, because if you do, you'll be really nervous. Okay, we're somewhere, I'm not sure where, some sort of bus station, and I'm gonna get off this bus, with all my gear, and see what the story is. This is like a long distance bus station, and you're not really supposed to get on at this bus station and go to somewhere like Pangandaran or Batukaras, which is where I want to end up, because it's a long distance bus. You're supposed to get on a local transport. But you can actually do it if you just go out the front, and as the bus is about to leave, you just jump on. Apparently you can do something like that. It's a little bit unofficial, but that's just the way it is. And that's why when you're traveling around here, you have to try and get tips off people as you're going around. Now, if you don't speak the language, you just got to hope that someone sort of points you in the right direction. And you can do it, but it's just a little bit confusing as you go around, and the prices you pay may not be quite what you were expecting. One of the things I've got is called Sale Lida. Saleh is basically you get the bananas and they're sliced really thin, long ways, as you can see there, and then they batter them and then deep fry them. And they are so, so delicious. So if you're ever coming through this part of the world, you should always try and get some saleh because they are just divine, super crunchy, but then they've got this chewy banana in the middle. Even though it's thin, it hasn't crisped up too much. It's not like a chip. It's more like on the outside it's crispy, like I don't know, like beer batter, almost like on a fish and chips. But then the inside is chewy, beautiful. When you're doing this akap thing, the antar kota, antar provinsi, you're always going to be snacking like this. So this is a kacang telur. So it's basically egg-coated fried peanuts. They are beautiful as well. I'll be getting stuck into those soon. Getting a full meal sometimes a little bit difficult while you're trying to change buses, going from one place to another, and you don't get time to sort of sit down for a big meal. So snacks is the way to go. This is classic pengamen.
Terima kasih, sakit banget nanti saya kepedangkan kumarga waktu di Kampung.
And then he'll come around and ask for a bit of cash, and we'll give a bit of a donation.
Bukan kampungku jauh, batas laut lawan gunung. Tapi apa tak bingung.
It's interesting because pengamen in this country are now quite marginalised, and for me they are part of the colour of the country. If you really want to know a little bit more about pengamen, the street musicians here in Indonesia, look for a movie called Jalanan. That is a fantastic one. It'll give you a bit of an idea of what the street musician culture is all about. The guy who made that film is a guy by the name of Daniel Ziv. And if you want to hear a white guy that's got great Indonesian, he's one of them. Like, he's really good. I feel like I've been travelling forever today. I've just got off the bus in a place called Pangandaran, which is actually a pretty cool beachside town. It used to be one of the famous beachside towns for a lot of foreigners to go to back in the day. It doesn't seem to be that way so much now. A lot more domestic tourists, but still pretty cool. I think I'm going to keep going along to a place called Batukaras. That's where I think I want to end up tonight. It's now 5:30. I don't know where time slipped away, but I started at 9 o'clock this morning and then it's now 5:30. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get a motorbike or a bus now. I think I might get a motorbike across there. It's like an hour by motorbike, but probably a lot longer by bus. Got myself a motorbike and here we go. It's about an hour journey and I'm paying 75,000 for it, which I think is a pretty good deal for a journey of that length. Let's go! We're on the coastline now, and this coastline goes for miles along here actually. A phenomenal beach. It's a little bit dark really. It's not like a white sand beach, but there are waves, and that's why a lot of people do come here, is because the waves here are excellent in some areas, and people know where the good waves are. There are some around here, but where we're going is actually over in the distance, right over in the distance, just on the horizon. There's a place called Batukaras. That's our destination for today. This is apparently a new bridge that they've built over this river, which looks amazing. Lots of people down here taking photos of themselves, selfies and so forth. I wish I could see over the edge of it. I'll probably, oh yeah, look at over there. Nice. Nice big bridge though, look at that. That looks like a hold a lot of traffic. It's like the Harbour Bridge. Beautiful. Oh, look, there's people selling food, there's people parking here. It's a proud day down here at the bridge. So after an epic day, I've finally arrived at a place called Sadati Homestay, and I'll just show you around the room. Wonderful grounds in the town of Batukaras, and the room looks like this. It's quite simple, but they do have an air conditioner just in case it gets hot during the day. And then a nice bathroom, look at that, beautiful bathroom. I'm pretty sure that's a cold water shower, but that's okay. That's okay. And it's ultra clean. It's owned by an Indonesian guy and his Swedish wife, and it includes breakfast. I think I'm paying 350,000 for a night for this place. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to being here in Batukaras for a couple of days and exploring, because I haven't been here for so long, but I will show you around in some following videos and see what we get up to. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Senor, the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time and sampai jumpa.
Kuring di tanah jauh, manehna tanah Sumatera. Lamun malam mingguan, mojok dia SMS-an. Jelema